The next thing we want to show you isn't so much a command as an expected protocol. For those of you who are volunteers and you're watching this video, we want to emphasize the fact that it's important to make sure the dog has some proper leash walking behavior. A big, strong dog that is pulling you around on a leash isn't appealing to a prospective adopter. We want to teach these guys how to behave properly on a leash. We're not going to get to in the training classes, they'll teach you a heel command where the dog is perfectly loose leash walking. We're not going to be able to get there with most of the dogs that we rescue, not in the time that we have. But it's important that we're not encouraging the dogs to drag us around on the leash because, again, that's just not good behavior. And it's really, if you have a big, strong dog, trying to get them adopted and all they're doing is dragging the adopter around is just, it's not going to help get that dog adopted. So this is about proper behavior and getting the dog adopted. So we train our dogs to walk on the left. With the smaller dogs, we may give a little bit more forgiveness. They can walk ahead, but the idea is if you've got the dog walking with you to your left, they know where you're going, so if you should change direction or stop, the dog has you in their field of vision. So we usually tell new volunteers, try to imagine that you have, in fact, we'll use the half-court line here. Imagine that there's a plane as you're walking. The dog's head may cross the plane, but as soon as the dog's shoulders cross that plane, it's gone too far ahead of you. At that point, it's leading the walk and it can't see you. So you don't have to worry about how this is trained. If you're one of our volunteers, we'll work with you on this, but it's important to know this concept that your body represents a plane. The dog's head can cross it, the body should not. So as you're walking along, the dog is walking nicely. Sally's going to because she's kind of old. But if I change direction, she's watching for me, so she knows where we're going. Now, if we walk along at a somewhat faster clip and she loses her focus on me, I'm going to say, here, here. And give her a little bit of a correction. Here. We use that here command. It's a way of letting the dog, in Sally's case, she was walking nicely, but if the dog is starting to drag me here, good girl, here. It's just a way of letting the dog know that you're about to change direction. And it encourages them to start paying attention to you. So when we first rescue a dog and they really don't understand the concept of the leash, it's important that when you take them out on a walk, that the first several days when they're just learning how to walk on a leash, that you're not going to cover a lot of ground. It's really more important for you to teach them how to be on the leash. So as you're walking, you're going to very frequently be changing direction. In fact, at times you may be walking in complete circles. But the important thing is to make sure the dog understands that they need to keep you in focus. And as you change direction, they're following you. And each time you change direction, here is just a little way of letting the dog know, here, that this is where I'm going, follow me here. The reason we don't say heel is because in training circles, the heel command is a very complicated command whereby once you tell the dog to heel, it should be absolutely following you everywhere until you release it. We're not going to accomplish that with most of the dogs in the time that we have with them. So we instead use the command here as a similarly sounding way of simply letting the dog know that we're about to change direction here. Or perhaps start the walk here. Here. Again, Sally's kind of a pro at this, so she gets it. But you may have a dog on the leash that's kind of wild, and there's going to be probably a bit more of a stronger correction coming from you as you change direction. But the idea is we really want the dog to learn to walk on our left, and we want it to learn not to drag us down the street.